So I embrace that nobody is doing anything to anybody. And because of my position in my profession, I get the opportunity to work with people who many times don't vibrate at the same resonance. Not that it's good or bad, it's just what is. So, but I'm responsible for their performance. So if I do things that feel right to me, and I'm requesting someone else to do something where they may not even know what feels right to them, how do I encourage them to look at things differently and get the outcome that I prefer?
Good. It is good, isn't it? So, Abraham, if I were to teach everyone I know what I know, how would I get anybody to do what I need them to do? That was the next step to that question. In other words, if the whole world, or just the people that work with me, understood what I'm coming to understand, and if they all lined up their energy so that they were gravitating toward what their life had caused them to create in their vibrational escrow, then who would fit in to what I need? One of the first questions Jerry asked is, if there was an activity on this planet that is really necessary to the planet and nobody wanted to do it, what would happen? And our answer is, if no one wanted to do it, then new desires would be born from you, and you would collectively create an improvement in life where there are a lot of things that as a society or as individuals you used to do that you are no longer doing. Now, we have taken you a little bit away from your question, and so we'll come right back to the specifics of it. So I'm learning, we're speaking for you, I'm learning alignment, and I'm learning to identify what I want and to do my best to become a vibrational match to it. And I'm working with other people that don't really understand that. So how can I be of greatest value to them? And more important to your question, how can I solicit from them the best response? So you're going to like this answer because it's much easier to hear than your question was.
Yes.
We like how you started. No one can hurt anyone, only you can hurt yourselves. And everyone is doing it to themselves, no matter what they think about it. They are. So the continuum of people that you are interacting with are those who are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, which means they're inspired, they're resilient, they don't get their feelings hurt, they have really good timing, they have great senses of humor, they are responsive, they are brilliant, they are healthy. In other words, they are good feeling people themselves, and they are lovely to be with, especially if you are one of them. In other words, when you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and you are interacting with others who are, it is divine. In fact, the more you interact with those that are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, the less you can bear it when you're interacting with those who are not.
Absolutely.
So,
no tolerance.
Well, then you're not tuned in, tapped in, turned on.
I know.
Because from your alignment, you see them at their best, whether they're at their best or not. They could be performing their worst, but you are so involved in who they really are, not who they're being in this moment, that you don't get bent out of shape over what they're doing because you're so enamored and so vibrationally in harmony with their potential, not their temporary departure from their potential. That was good. That was, by the way, that was very
great.
Good. So on this continuum, they may be in alignment or they may not be. But as you said to us when you began here, only you can hurt you, even if it's about something that somebody else seems to be doing. Mm-hmm. So let's say that you are really wanting to be a mentor that gets the best from these people for whom you feel responsibility. Now, yes. The first thing that we want to say is, don't be responsible for their action. Instead, assume a responsibility, if you want to, for being a catalyst to their alignment. So as far as you are going to allow your responsibility to go is, I see myself as responsible to focus on the best of you. So really, it's my responsibility to me, and it really doesn't have so much to do with you. I'm going to really work hard at this. I'm going to make lists at night of your capabilities. I'm going to make lists of your positive aspects. I'm going to tune myself so precisely to your potential that I will be one who calls you always toward your potential, which means when you are in my presence, you will always feel a little better, as I will be calling you to close your gap. And you know, everybody that you know, everything that they're feeling, everything that they're living, everything that they're oozing is about their gap. And so if you are an instrument or a catalyst to help them close that gap, then you are doing the very best thing that you could for them. If we were talking to someone who is a new parent, or a parent who had been a parent for a long time, or someone like you who is a mentor or a teacher, the words that we would give are always the same. Your responsibility is to your alignment. And when you take that seriously, then you are a teacher that teaches them the best possible thing about their alignment. And under those conditions, you're always getting the best that is possible. Now let's say something happened to one of them. The conditions of their life have them upside down and all around, and they are nowhere near alignment. As we said earlier, if you are still looking at their potential and giving them the benefit of the doubt, then you're not using them as your excuse not to be in alignment, and the universe will deliver to you the results that you want from your team, with your team, without your team. It will circumvent your team. In other words, the results you want are coming to you with or without them. And if you don't care who gets the credit, you'll always win. So we offer infinite processes, never-ending spewer of processes. That's the definition of Abraham. The never-ending spewer of the process in an effort to explain to you that you're already worthy, and that if you will just chill out, the stream will carry you to your heart's desire, to the fulfillment of all that you are. So as we're moving forward here today, we're going to show you in as many ways as we can, given what it is you want to talk about, how if you will just try to see it in a little bit different way, you will at least stop paddling upstream, and the stream will begin to turn you. Esther's been pondering a lot of things that are happening on television, a couple of things that are happening in their own experience. And as she's been pondering these things, she's come to a very clear awareness that everybody doesn't see things the way she sees them. She's astonished that people cannot understand it the way she understands it and just do what she would do. It would solve everything today. So she put herself in her bed the other night, and she was pondering something that she'd seen on television and sort of making an analogy of it with something that's been happening in their experience. And as she was going to sleep, she said, I want clarity about this. I want to be able to see this from a broader perspective. And as she slept, she dreamed, and when she awakened, she remembered this vivid dream. In her dream, she is standing on the back porch of what appeared to be where they were living. And she saw a bear cub coming out of the woods. And the bear cub looked distressed because it was dirty. It had obviously been rolling around. And as it came closer, she realized that it had a sort of halfway armament on it, sort of like the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz. A sort of armament, a funny thing on its head and a funny thing over its upper torso. And it clearly did not want to have it on, but it could not seem to get it off. And Esther acknowledged in the dream that the reason it was so dirty is it had been rolling around, really working hard at getting the rest of it off. And as Esther saw this little bear, her heart just went out to it, and she is thinking to herself, how can I help you out of this situation? And so she began moving toward it, and she was looking for some sort of tool that she might use so that she could help this bear out of its dilemma. And Elsie, lovable cat, walked out of the house and onto the porch and saw the bear. Now, Elsie had a whole different interest in the bear. And Elsie began to approach the bear. And as Elsie began to approach the bear began to respond to this approach. And Esther could see something was going to happen between the bear and Elsie. And Esther now began feeling concern for her lovable cat. And so Esther began looking for something that she could use to make the bear go away. And she found some rather good-sized stones, which she is now tossing at the bear. And as she is tossing them at the bear, Elsie is sort of standing there trying to decide what to do next, and the bear is beginning to retreat. And now Kate, granddaughter Kate, comes out on the porch and says, Grandma, don't hit it. And then Esther awakened, full of incredible clarity. as the main character in this dream, as you are always the main character in your life, she had felt her moving about of perspective. She went from feeling strong and secure and capable and wanting to help this bear that clearly needed help, to being the defender of someone else and seeing the bear as the problem, not someone that she wanted to help. And in the midst of that, pure little Kate came out and saw grandmother as the problem. Grandmother's throwing rocks at the bear who Kate now wants to help get out of this predicament. Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting how you interact with one another always from your selfish perspective? And somehow, in your complete understanding that it's all right for you to feel the way you feel, never understanding that it's all right for everybody else to feel the way they feel. And as long as you're looking through your selfish eyes, and you have no other point of view, you have to come around to understanding that there is no way out of dilemmas if your idea of a solution is getting someone else to give up their selfish nature and give in to yours. Your war in the Middle East will go on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Accept it and let it be. You can't understand their points of view. You can't make them understand each other's points of view. You can't overlay your point of view. In other words, you have to understand that law of attraction is working it all out, and that the only way that you can be creatively influential in your own life experience is to affect your own vibration. If your idea of living a happy life is getting someone else to alter their behavior so that you can observe something different, then you've got all that coercion to do. Then you've got to convince them that they need to do something different in order for you to live a happy life. And friends, they are all, every single one of them, as selfishly oriented as you are. It has always been thus, and it always will be. So the answer to your living happily ever after is to mind your own business and tend to your own vibrational crack, and let your undivided attention be upon how Source is seeing this situation, and understanding that Source is seeing it through the expanded version of life that you have given Source. In other words, Source has expanded because of you, and now you have no choice, if your desire is to be happy, other than to keep up with who you have become. Well-being is the order of your world, and you are contributing to the power of the stream. And friends, you knew when you made the decision to come here in these physical bodies that this would be a time of exaggerated contrast, and you were so excited about participating because you knew the exaggerated contrast would mean exaggerated desire, which would mean faster moving energy, which would mean when you move with the energy, the ride will be sweet. When you go with a fast-moving stream, when you ride the wave of that fast-moving stream, it is exhilarating life beyond description. And when you don't, it sort of beats you up. And so you can't have it both ways. You can't be a leading edge creator in a leading edge stream and not keep up with what is the leading edge. You cannot hold back. You cannot not let yourself go with that which you have become. And that really is the message of this gathering, isn't it? You keep becoming more. You got to go with what you've become, which means what? Means you got to like you. Means you got to love you. Means you got to trust you. Means you got to know it's okay. Means you've got to acknowledge that there's only a stream of well-being flowing. It means you have to sort of let those words that are sort of pounding in the back of your mind that you picked up from others who had forgotten it temporarily. It means you have to let that go while you listen for the calling that is dominant, that is eternal in your experience. Eternal in your experience. When you have an out-of-body experience, you don't hear somebody harping at you. When you have those near-death experiences, it's Source saying, come on, it's really good. How many near-death experiences do people say, I had a near-death experience and this is what I saw. This is what I saw. And it's Source saying, we're over here, right where you've sent us by the power of the life that you've been living. Come over here with us now, and you don't have to die to do it. We have enjoyed this interaction more than words can say. You are magnificent leading-edge creators, and if there is anything that it is our desire that you've heard from us here today, it's that you don't have to work hard in any of this. It is that in the relaxation, the well-being that is your legacy will be yours. There are no rewards for struggle, and the pain in your back should tell you that. Trust the way you feel. There is great love here for you. And for now, we remain incomplete.